Hey everybody, happy holidays. I don't have any of my holiday decorations up or any of my holiday shopping done, but hey, we're going to have a fun time today because in honor of the holiday season, no matter what holiday you're celebrating or if you don't celebrate a holiday at all, we are having a special today and we are going to be reviewing something I'm very excited about. Ever since I started reviewing X-Files stuff, I've wanted to review this book. That's right. It is Ground Zero, the X-Files novel. I got this book. When I was about 11 years old. My mom bought it for me. I'm glad she did because not only is it my favorite of the X-Files novels, it's one of my favorite books. It's just great. So let's dive right into it. There is an audiobook version of this. It's for free on YouTube if you want to check it out, and it is read by the one and only Gillian Anderson. So this book is a very Scully-centric book, so it's very fitting that Gillian would read this X-Files novel. There were a couple other novels in the X-Files novel series. I have Antibodies and a Whirlwind. I want to review those later on, but this one's far and above my favorite. So this is written by Kevin J. Anderson, and Kevin J. Anderson, you can really tell that Scully is his favorite character. And I'm like, same dude. His version of Scully, I think, is one of my favorite versions of her. And that's not to say he can't write Mulder. Outside of fan fiction, Kevin J. Anderson's take on Mulder is my very favorite. The Mulder in Kevin J. Anderson's X-Files novels is just a precious boy. It's very much if you just took out all of Mulder's shitty, misogynistic, problematic behavior, you would get this guy. And I was like, yes, that's what I wanted, you know? Why couldn't we have this Mulder? He's precious. We'll talk about him in a minute. There's some passages I really want to read where Mulder's he's just the most precious boy. Okay, let's talk about the cover. So, I made a joke on my YouTube channel, and I said every cover of the X-Files novels looks like Mulder and Scully were caught making out in the bureau basement office, and Mr. Skinner caught them. So this version is paperback. It also has like an embossed title, Ground Zero, and it's kind of glows in the dark. I like it. It's very cool. So the story, I guess we should talk about the story, shouldn't we? So this is going to be a non-spoiler review because I know many people that have not read Ground Zero and they want to, and I might do a review with spoilers in it, but this is a spoiler-free review. I just really want to talk about stuff in the book that I like. If you haven't read it, don't worry. I'm not going to give away any twist. And I just want to say this is a great mystery book. If you like a good mystery / horror / sci-fi book, Ground Zero is it. There's this X-Files theme, and it's like using it's like the old traditions of folklore versus new man-made technology. That's cool. And this book very much explores that trope. I'm not giving anything away, just it's that trope. It's about this atom bomb project, and it's called Bright Anvil. And it's one of those things where it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we'll have all the power of the atom bomb, but we won't have any of the shitty fallout, you know? And it's just people like fucking around with the power of the sun, which even in our universe is just fucking terrifying. Anyway, they create this thing called Bright Anvil, and Mulder and Scully discover it's hella dangerous and unstable, and they and many other forces are trying to, supernatural and man-made, are trying to reach this Bright Anvil project and shut it down. There's some really shitty government people who want it to go forward. It's cool. I mean, if you're into like steampunk shit or like, like post-apocalyptic futures. Like, this is a good book. The X-Files never really, the show, this is an X-Files novel, the show, like, never really delved into, like, post-apocalyptic futures, except for that one shitty episode in season 7, Amor Fati 2. I can't wait to review that one. That is just, wow, that's one of the worst X-Files episodes in my opinion. But this one does. But I guess we should talk about the star of the show, and that's Scully. Like I said, very Scully-centric story, which I love, and is one of the reasons I love this book so much. This takes place, the book was written and released in 1995. So I'm placing this around, I'm placing this in season 1, because it does not mention her abduction. You kind of get the vibe her and Mulder have not been working together very long. And it kind of, Kevin J. Anderson just said, why not college AU for this X-Files novel? Because Scully kind of goes back to her old college, and she's kind of masquerading as a college student, which is kind of hilarious. I always want the college students, like, when she's gone, to be like, what happened to Dana? Remember her? And they're like, yeah, she was super weird, and she had this boyfriend who talked about aliens all the time. She goes back to her old college. She's reminiscing on her college days, and Scully was a bit of a rebellious activist in her youth, which is pretty cool. It talks about how her and her dad kind of butt heads over that. There is a line in, I think, like the first 5 chapters, and it says, when she was a college student, she would have these dreams, about a dark, post-apocalyptic, like, post-nuclear, world. And when I was reading that when I was 11, I was like, oh, but you know, like, everyone has bad dreams, you know, meh. But then, in the context of the show, looking back on this when I'm 39, I'm like, oh yeah, like, Scully can see the future. Wow. Like, yeah, Kevin J. Anderson is, like, really out there, writing the tropes the fans wanted to see in the X-Files. Scully's great in this book. It really delves into her past. I always make the joke that this book gave Scully more character development than 11 seasons, 278 episodes of the X-Files. So I want to read a few passages. We'll get to Mulder being great in just a minute. Okay, so Scully is bisexual in this book. Again, Kevin J. Anderson, bless the man. He gets it. He fucking gets it. They meet this chick named Carrera, and I just want to let you know that this is completely from Scully's point of view. It says, Carrera wore a knee-length skirt and scarlet silk blouse that set off her dusky skin. Her lips were generous, embellished with a conservative lipstick. Her full head of rich brown hair, the color of dark chocolate, was pulled back on her head, held by several gold barrettes, and cascaded down her back in a glorious tumble of locks. She was built like a gymnast, filled with enthusiasm. And I'm like, okay, Scully, you didn't have to take a paragraph to tell us all that, baby. Scully is fucking out there with her bisexuality in this book. Every woman, she's just like describing them to the night. She's like, she's beautiful. And I'm like, yes. Okay, also there's this chick named Muriel Bremen, I think is her name. Muriel Bremen is like this, anti-nuke person. She was a physicist who worked on this Bright Anvil atom bomb project, and she left it. She kind of deserted it. And she's very much that character who's like in over their head, and they suddenly try to reverse their actions and they can't do it. And those characters are always really good. In the universe of the X-Files, I think Spender was a lot like that. I really love Spender's character. And of course, Chris Owens is just a stellar actor. But Muriel Bremen, Scully goes to meet her, And she's like, oh, will Muriel Bremen like me? And then Muriel Bremen like takes one look at Scully and she's like, you want to go out on a date or something? And I'm like, yes. Muriel Bremen's like described as this super hot lesbian chick. So I like to think her and Scully slept together in my perfect world. Also, we learned Scully is a stout woman. That is her beverage of choice, and I love that. There's a scene where Scully drinks a pint of stout, and she's like, "Oh, I've only ever drank like Bud Light at a barbecue," and then she just like fucking downs that fucker, and I'm like, "That's my girl right there." So let's move on to Mulder. This is a Scully-centric book, but the way Kevin J. Anderson writes Mulder is just amazing. Mulder loves 3 things, okay? He loves this woman right here. He loves hamburgers, and he loves junk food. That's his personality. He also loves hunting down monsters. So Mulder's precious in this book. He is very chivalrous to Scully. There's a scene at the end where they're on a plane and there's lots of turbulence. I also love the way this book recognizes how turbulence squicks out Scully, but like boats, motion, sickness squicks out Mulder, which is very nice. She's like really like reeling from the turbulence and he's like helping her off the plane. He's like, it's okay, I've got you. There's another scene where they're packing to go on an investigation and Mulder orders Chinese food and he's like, hey Scully, I got you Kung Pao chicken. It's your favorite. And she's like, how did you know it was my favorite? And he's like, I wouldn't be much of an FBI agent if I didn't know that. And I'm like, oh, Mulder, buddy. He's like, he learned her favorite Chinese food. Like I said, I wish we got this Mulder on the show. Instead of getting the problematic piece of garbage we got on the X-Files. Other cute Mulder moments. Him and Scully are in New Mexico investigating this guy's death. And he just orders Scully a hamburger at this restaurant. And he's like, Scully, we've got to eat this hamburger. And she's like, no, Mulder, we have to go. And he's like, no, Scully. This hamburger has chili peppers in it. And I'm like, oh, I love you, Mulder. He's a keeper in this one, man. And in the other Kevin J. Anderson novels, he's a very just sweetheart of a guy. And like, I love it. Yeah, besides Antibodies, Kevin J. Anderson wrote Ruins, which I've never read. And a lot of people are like, Ruins is the best X-Files novel. So I got to read that one. So, some other characters of import. There's this kid named Victor. He's like the intern on the this Bright Anvil project. He's this really nerdy kid with like long red hair and big glasses. He's giving off Max Finnig vibes. Mulder spends the whole book just bullying this kid. And I'm like, okay, Mulder, you were doing so well in this book. Why'd you have to bring in this problematic shit? But Victor, I think, dies at the end. I know, that's a spoiler. I'm sorry. Actually, I can't remember if Victor dies or not. The book can't either, so pour one out for Victor. He was a good boy. And then there's this guy named Captain Robert Ives, and he's this Navy captain. He's a super cool guy, a super nice man, and he meets Scully, and he knew Scully's dad. He was like, oh yes, Admiral Scully, we were best buds. And then Captain Ives makes the mistake of being a side character in an episode of the X-Files, and he dies a brutal death from supernatural forces. Poor Captain Ives. Some other great characters. We talked about Carrera. She's like this DOE bureaucrat, super hot girl. I really think her and Scully hooked up at some point. There's this girl named Becca Thorne, and she like just goes from one protest group to the next, just like being their secretary, and I love that. She's cool. This book has a lot of like really cool side characters. There's this poor DOE woman who like just wants to like swim in the pool and have steaks with her boyfriend, and the paranormal forces in this book are like, and I took that personal. There's also this super racist guy named McCarran, and when he bites it, I don't feel sorry for him. He has a cool horse, and that's like a Palomino horse. And when it dies, Scully is so messed up about that horse. She's like, "No, horsey." This just adds fire to my headcanon that Dana Scully is a horse girl. We're gonna read a few more passages, just some really cute passages I marked. Yeah, this is the one where Mulder gets the Chinese food. It says, in his kitchenette, several small white cartons of carry-out Chinese food sat on the table next to 2 paper plates. He'd already heaped one of the plates with steamed rice, kung pao chicken, and dry fried string beans with pork, which is Scully's like favorite Chinese food dinner, which is so cute. As he packed, he shuttled back and forth between his suitcase, the television, and the kitchenette, grabbing a few bites to eat. With his mouth full of garlicky string beans, Mulder heard a sharp rap on his apartment door. "Mulder, it's me!" He swallowed quickly before rushing to let his partner in. Dressed in professional, though comfortable traveling clothes, Scully carried a bulging duffel bag. "I'm all packed. I'm even 10 minutes early. That gives you plenty of time to tell me what's going on." He gestured her inside. "I've arranged for 2 tickets to paradise. You and I are going off to the South Seas." "Your message told me as much," she said. "But what for?" We've got a pair of front row seats at the Bright Anvil test. I asked for season tickets to the New York Knicks, but this was the best they could do." She blinked her blue eyes in astonishment. "The test? How did you manage that? I thought," he's like, "connections in certain high places." One very frightened brigadier general who was willing to go out on a limb for us. "I picked up some Chinese carry-out for a quick dinner before we head to the airport." He indicated the extra paper plate. "I got an order of kung pao chicken, your favorite." Scully sat her duffel bag on an empty chair and looked at him curiously. "Mulder, I don't recall that we've ever gone out for Chinese food together. How would you know what my favorite meal is?" He favored her with a reproachful look. "Now what kind of FBI agent would I be if I couldn't find out a simple thing like that?" Oh, my guy. He's such a good boy. I love him. I love Mulder in these books. And let's see what else we've got here that I marked. No, that's the last one. I love the smell of old library books. I don't know about y'all. And it like I said, I think this is at season 1 because Scully like still feels very emotionally reserved towards Mulder. Mulder raised his eyebrows. "You're sounding pretty passionate there. Is this a particular interest of yours?" She looked at him, feeling her walls go up. "Used to be." And yeah, it like definitely shows their dynamic in season 1, which is pretty great. Oh, Mr. Skinner shows up in the last chapter of the book, and I definitely want to talk about that. It says Mulder comes in like to talk to Skinner, and it says the place held unpleasant memories for him. Mulder had been called on the carpet many times before for insisting on explanations the Bureau didn't want to consider, for prying the lid off details that other people wished to keep hidden. Skinner had often found himself in an uncomfortable position in the middle, between a persistent Mulder and the shadowy string pullers, who refused to be identified. Skinner closed the door behind him. He took off his glasses and polished the lenses on a handkerchief. Beads of sweat speckled his bald head. Mulder noticed that the office was quite warm. "Air conditioning's not working again," Skinner said. And then he goes on to comment, "You didn't get much of a tan in your travels, Agent Mulder." So Mr. Skinner shows up for the last chapter, but he hits it out of the park. It's great. Love the way he's complaining like a dad. He's like, damn air conditioning. So that is my mini review of X-Files Ground Zero. It's one of my favorite books. Definitely my favorite of the X-Files novels. If you love Scully, especially, it's I think required reading, I would say. Or if you love the X-Files, or hell, if you just like a good mystery horror story. I know a lot of friends who have like gotten into the X-Files by reading this book, which is super cool. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. I think I'm going to review Antibodies next, which is the next Kevin J. Anderson X-Files novel. I'll see y'all in a bit, and I hope y'all have a great holiday season. Mwah.